Project 1 walkthrough. Okay, so when you get to the end of Module 2, after 6B, homework 6B, which is weighted averages, after you finish that, you are ready to begin Project 1. Now, just to remind you that here for the second 8 weeks in spring of 23, the due date is April 12th for this. So you do have a little bit of time, but don't take that time for granted. Okay, so first things first, when you go into Project 1, you see there are 3 blue, hyperlinks basically. We're going to talk in detail about the top one because that's the directions page. It's going to tell you everything you need to do and the questions you need to answer. But as we get into that, half of your grade, okay, so this is like, there's 2 parts to this. The first part is an Excel document that you have to create. And I know for some people that can be very anxiety producing and overwhelming. So here's the thing. The last 2, bottom 2 links here, right? So we have this link in this spot and this link in this spot over here where it's blue. The first one is kind of like, it'll just the overview of how to set it up. I made that video years ago, but it's still perfectly acceptable for this project. And then last semester, I made the second extra Excel help because if you are really new to Excel, you're going to want to watch both of those videos before you even start the project. Like read through the directions, watch the videos, and then get started on your Excel. You have to do the Excel portion first. Okay, so let's go into the document. This is the directions, and I'm going to talk through the Excel part first. So you are going to turn in 2 different documents for this. You will turn in a Word document where you answer all of your questions. You will turn in an Excel document that must be done. Okay, so both pieces. Let's talk about Excel first. So in the Excel spreadsheet, this is worth 50 points of the 100. You have to do these 4 things. So first, you're going to put your name on it, the course name, the section number. So I would put Becky Moening, Math 123. I don't know what our section number is, B2B, I think, and Project 1, right? So you get points for that, y'all. And then you're going to create a table with some categories, and then you're going to do that. Now, if you're like, I don't know what any of that means, this is where the videos are going to come into play because those videos are going to teach you how to set up these tables. Now, the data, if we scroll all the way down, and I don't necessarily like the way this is set up, but I am way too lazy to change it now. At the very bottom of this Word document, you see the grading scale, you see the category weights, and you see all of the scores. These are the scores you are using for this project, okay? So when you're saying, well, what am I putting in my Excel document? These scores are what you are using in your document. And recognize that exam 1, 2, and 3 are different. They are weighted differently. So make sure those are 3 separate categories. You have 7 categories. You should have 7 columns or 7 rows. I don't care if you do this vertically or horizontally, it doesn't matter. But there are 7 categories. How many? 7. Okay, so that's the data you are putting in your Excel document. And then you are going to calculate using weighted averages the final grade. You have to use formulas in the Excel document. Okay? You have to use formulas. And right now, if you're thinking, I don't know how to do any of this, watch the videos. That is the purpose of the Excel videos, is to help you through that. Now, after you have created your Excel document, stop. Because if your Excel document is wrong, then all of your questions will be wrong, and you have just flubbed up this entire thing. So this is what I recommend. You complete the Excel document, and then you open up your email, you attach that Excel document, and you send it to me. And you say, Becky, will you check my Excel document? And I will say, because you are my student and I want the best for you, the answer to that is yes. And then I will check it and I will either say it is perfect, you're good to go, or I will say, okay, we have some issues. And I will tell you where your issues are so you can fix them. And we can go back and forth as many times as you want. before you get right. Because once your Excel document is perfect, and I tell you, you are good to go, you know that you have 50 points done, ready, it is perfect. Then you go on to the Word document. And using your spreadsheet, you are going to answer the questions in here, okay? And you are going to answer them with complete sentences, with capital letters and punctuation, and correct spelling, and all the things. Now, there are 5 questions, 10 points apiece, because 50 points. I would recommend 5 paragraphs, 1 paragraph for each question. So the first one, tell me what you did. How did you do this? What was the process? And what was, then after you tell me your process, what was the final percentage and what is the letter grade? Boom. Should be pretty easy because that's just what did you do in your Excel document. Then we're getting to question 2. At the end of the semester, the instructor decides to drop a single score. It cannot be an exam or the test review. What score will be most impactful and how does this affect the final grade? Will the dropping of that score allow the student to reach the next letter grade? So y'all, because you used formulas in Excel, it allows you to change scores and then that will filter and affect everything. So if you change a grade, it will affect everything and you'll be able to say, oh, if I change this 82 to a 0, it makes my final grade go down 2 points. And then you tell me that, right? You want to quantify your answers here. Quantify meaning use numbers. If you just say, oh, it doesn't affect it that much, that tells me nothing and you will not receive points. You need to say, when I change this project score to a 2, it changes the final grade to a 37, blah, 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 whatever. Use numbers, okay? Okay, then you go back to the original. So you are always using the original unless otherwise specified. So sometimes it might be helpful to have multiple multiple sheets on your Excel. Again, watch the video. Number 3. The student already missed some homework assignments. What if the student missed all of them? Now, if you miss a homework assignment, that means you get a 0, right? That's how this whole education thing works. So they're saying, what if the student got all 0s in the homework? How does that change their final grade? So you're going to go into your spreadsheet, you're going to change those to 0s. What happens? Okay, then you go to number 4. Assume the student didn't do any homework, just like in number 3, and therefore the lack of homework resulted in lower exam grades. How do 0s in the homework and lower exam grades affect the final grade? So again, you're going to change things. And then in number 5, you start back at your original. Given the student's final grade, what is the lowest possible score for exam 3 that the student could have and still keep the same letter grade? Because remember, these are, so if the student started with an 82, which is a B, what could their exam 3 score be? So change exam 3 and play with that until you get the lowest B you could possibly get, okay? So that is the quick down and dirty of this. You want to just make sure that in their questions, you're always quantifying. But remember, if you don't have a correct Excel document, you can't have correct questions because your numbers are not going to work. And that is the key. Now, it's very important just to note, right? This is for Becky Moening's second 8 weeks, Math 123 course out of South Bend. Every project one is a little different. So make sure that you following the directions for your project one if you are at a different campus. Thanks all.